Hey everyone, it's Caitlin without Sarah. Today I'm going to be talking about why I dropped my sorority. Maybe you can learn a little bit about sororities if you're in a sorority and you're not sure if you want to stay in it, or if you are a freshman and you're not sure if you want to rush or not. This could give you some outside perspective. We're just trying to keep it real on this channel, and that is why I want you to subscribe. With that, let's get into this video. I was in a sorority for 2 years. I rushed my freshman year, and then my second year I lived in the house. Definitely got the full sorority experience living in the house. I went to all the events my freshman year. I got a whole family. I got a little, and there were some good memories made. I dropped after my sophomore year, and then my sophomore year I was living in the house, and as you guys know, Sarah was coming to UF, and we knew that we wanted to be roommates the next year, our junior year. Me and Sarah are going looking for apartments, and they were expensive. I talked to my mom and I'm like, hey, is it cool if I, live in a place that costs $11,000? And she's like, what? My parents gave me an ultimatum. They didn't want to pay any more than they were paying now for me to be in the sorority and live in the house. So I had to find an apartment that I could afford to be in my sorority, because at the time, not being in my sorority was just not an option. Apartments are expensive and so are sororities. I was paying a few $1,000s for the semester to live in the sorority, so paying rent on top of that was just not going to be an option. I told Sarah, I'm sorry, I don't think that I can live with you. I've tried to do the math, like I have to live in the sorority house again, which was the cheapest option. We're like, we'll keep our options open, we'll try to figure out there's a possible way that we can do this, but for right now, it's no. Here comes the problem. Let me just tell you what it's like living in my sorority house so you can understand. Living in the house really wasn't the best experience for me. I had already lived in a dorm my freshman year, and a sorority house is basically just a glorified dorm. At least my sorority house was. You still have to live with another person in a room. I didn't want that anymore. But I was thinking to myself, okay, well next year I'll be a junior, so I can get a single, so I'll have my own personal space, that's not that bad. Yay, problem solved. I thought I was going to be living in a single room, and then our executive board decided to let everyone know at chapter that, hey, next year the executive board has to live in the house. Executive board members get to pick their rooms. There's only like 4 single rooms. I'm not on the executive board. I wonder who's gonna get the single rooms. So I was like, no. So I come up with a solution. I'm gonna run for the executive board. So I pick a position that's not that competitive, that I think I could win, so that I could get a single in the house. What was the position? Pan-Hellenic delegate. No. I was running for alumni relations chair, which I actually thought I would be pretty good at. So I was like, okay, win-win. Well, I ran and I lost twice. 2 times I lost. They do a first round of elections, which is where you see if you're gonna win in the real election. I lost that, but I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna give up. So I ran again. I lost again. And now I'm so frustrated because it's looking like I'm gonna have to live in a room with another person again. It's just a really unfortunate situation for me. So I turned to another option. There's a thing in sororities called going on status. You're still a member of the chapter, but you're not fully active in the chapter, so it can make it a lot cheaper. When you're on status, you're paying almost the entire amount of your sorority dues, except you have you can't do anything in the sorority. You can't go to meals, you can't go to any of the events. You're just paying $4,000 a year for literally nothing. I was trying so hard to make living with Sarah work, and it wasn't for some reason, and I just didn't know why. All of a sudden, one day, Sarah's at my house and we're hanging out. I'm just thinking about it, and I'm like, what if I did drop my sorority? It was there that I started to think about why I actually didn't want to drop my sorority. If I were to stay next year, I started to think, what am I paying for? And I was like, okay, what about my friends? And ever since I joined my sorority, I've had a few really close friends. You guys know who you are. And then I had my family, but then everyone else in my sorority, they were just like acquaintances. I had to realize to myself that because I knew they were my actual friends and not just my sorority friends, as soon as I dropped, they would still want to hang out with me because they're friends with me for me, not for my letters. Anyone who doesn't want to hang out with me anymore because I dropped, they were never my friend in the first place. My sophomore year was really the year that I started to follow Jesus with my whole life. Before that, I'd always kind of known about God and like went to church and stuff like that, but I never fully gave my life to Jesus until that sophomore year. And doing that meant a lot of things for the way that I lived my life. One of them was that I didn't want to go out drinking and partying every night anymore. With that came not going to the social events anymore. With that also came learning that my identity is actually a lot more than just the letters that I wear. And I think it's really easy to get wrapped up in it when you're in Greek life without realizing, because every sorority has like a reputation. Every sorority has an identity. So, you know, when you go out, the first thing that people say to you is, oh, like what sorority are you in? And you'll say your sorority and they're like, oh yeah. Oh, so you're like this. You're this type of person, blah, blah, blah. Just based off of your letters. People who don't know you that follow you on Instagram see the sorority letters in your bio and they assume what kind of person you are based off those letters. I liked my identity around my sorority and I didn't want to give that up because I didn't fully know who I actually was yet. And so once I started to learn more about who my identity was in Jesus, I started to realize that, hey, I actually don't need these letters to verify what I know about myself. What I will say is this though, I realized at the time when I was choosing whether or not to drop my sorority, I kind of looked at things like all black and white because I didn't want to acknowledge that, hey, there are some things that I'm gonna miss about being in a sorority. I had some really fun times and I definitely miss some of those memories sometimes. But everything has a season. My time in my sorority was over and I knew that, and there's no point in holding on to something if it's holding you back. Even if you love that thing, sometimes you gotta let it go. Ultimately, my time in Greek life was over. That is my story. Me and Sarah really want to be open about our life experiences and just get as real as possible on this channel. I just want to share as much of my life with you so that you can know that you are normal. You're normal if you're contemplating dropping your sorority. You're normal if you're in a sorority and you don't love it that much. It's all normal. We're all good. So please subscribe. Please comment down below any questions that you have about this video, about my decision to drop, about me being in a sorority. Please comment down below, and I will see you in the next video with Sarah by my side. Bye.